Try that. Then you drinking a mojito over there? What's going on over there? You doing all right?
Nah, we found out about this drink thanks to Jeremiah.
Mm-hmm.
It is called
Oh, is he?
Izzy.
Okay, that's
We
not
didn't know what these were. But
okay.
these are some delicious little sodas, man. But you can
Okay.
only get them from like Sam's Club and Costco.
Well, I hope we're gonna get a sponsor from Sam's Club and Costco. We're on Salient Points number 68. This was for May 17th, 2022. We hope you approved of that advertisement there. Fizzy, is it called Fizzy? You said.
Izzy,
Yeah.
Izzy.
Easy. Okay, and you're quite enjoying yourself with that refreshment there, Dalan.
Hey man, they got some flavors I didn't know would be delicious. It was clementine, orange, and mango.
Clement.
It's pretty
Okay.
good.
Okay. I got you,
That's the
Dalan.
green apple.
I hope that's getting
It's
you.
sparkling apple.
I hope that's getting you over the case of the Mondays. But we are here recording. It's a Tuesday episode, of course, when it goes up. But I'm your host, the Master of Ceremonies, Carlos Macias. Dalan Kirkwood from Up in the Mountains. Thank you for joining us, sir.
I got them Izzies.
You really do. You got a case of the Izzies. Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you for joining us as well, sir.
Yeah, happy belated Mother's Day to all the Mexican mothers out there.
Yeah. Hey, well, actually, before I forget, we're hanging
Hey,
out.
hold up. What about the black mothers? I'm just saying.
It's racial, Dalan. It's racial. No, everyone is.
I said
Everyone
it
is
for a
welcome.
specific reason.
Yeah, everyone is
Yeah,
welcome.
I got
But
it.
before I forget, we will be hanging. Before I forget, we will be going to a show this week, right, Luis? The Mud Honey, and we will be hanging out with the original Wheels of Steel, I believe, right? Is that confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay, Louis Racino, shout out to him. We'll shoot him a link. It's like, hey man, you better like and subscribe out here if you're listening. So what Luis was alluding to, Dylan, because we put in a little segment called "The People Speak." I haven't put up the bat signal, so this is really like, look, if you're in the YouTube comment, and if you're on Twitter, even if you're in our private chat, you might get some smoke thrown your way. Last week on the show, we weren't able to make it, paths crossed and Mother's Day and all that stuff. So I hope you guys were able to kind of congratulate your mothers and on being a mother, basically being there.
But we're back on the bandwagon.
But we are back on it. But I did put that tweet out, and one of our homies, Prue, right away, I put, since it is Mexican Mother's Day, I wasn't able to make it either. And he was like, racial, and I was like, yeah, it is. It is. But how Dalan just pointed out, happy Black Mother's Day as well. They just happen to have a special day, all right? Like, I like how Mexico's like, we don't care that it's during the week. It's going to fall when it falls. The U.S. Mother's Day is like it's on a Sunday, right? But for Mexican Mother's Day, it's like, no, it's the 10th.
It's
we don't
whenever
mess around.
we celebrate it.
Yeah,
It's always on the 10th.
So it's definitely a Tuesday, so we did some celebrating. Those were the comments from you guys. Or did you have anything else, Luis? You can shoot some smoke at Proof for sure. Another guy, he's one of our mainstays here, Jet. Of course, I don't know if we've gotten permission to. We know who he is, Dalan, in real IRL. Have we gotten permission? You're gonna out him or no? He's just Jet on YouTube. What do you think?
Yeah, right now he'll just be Jet.
Okay, all right. At some point we'll out him. But for the last podcast, he did say, "Yeah, I've been playing Elden Ring. Jet, get your crap together, man. There's definitely some things going on here. Yeah, I've been playing Elden Ring for a minute. Can confirm that the bosses
He's been
have
playing
no
some
chill.
LDs. That's what they call it now. They're calling it LDs.
We can confirm that the bosses have no chill. Also, 3 flights of stairs. It was 18 steps. Come on, man. Lowe, great to see you. We're going to have to catch up soon. So Jeremy Lowe was on a podcast that you weren't on, Dalan. Thank you for not showing up to that. But this man is referencing the fact that we were helping your dad move, right? So he was like, it was a lot of steps. He was also helping you out, right, Mr. Jet? So that's how we know him in real life.
Yes, he was definitely helping me out. I got a lot of help from a number of people. You, one of those people.
You're
Luis
welcome.
couldn't show up because he was busy dealing with life stuff. And
My
Jeremy
back.
Lowe.
What about his back?
My back.
I literally
And what
had a
about my
part of my
legs?
spine chopped off, dude.
Come on,
Yes,
Dalan.
I understand that you had other important things to do in life. But I still want to thank you guys for helping out either way. For anybody who actually does listen to this podcast, Carlos,
We got a
Jeremy
few.
Lowe,
We got a
and
couple
Jet,
folks.
They're always there to help.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I will say? So we always end the podcast with like a zinger at the end. sometimes I feel like I don't want to throw it in there because I feel like it's sort of left field and you guys have nothing to say. I'm like, damn, I fucked up the zinger this week. But apparently, Prue, he says he skips to the end, so maybe he likes the zinger. So he likes the confusion of it, I guess. So just for Prue, if Prue says he likes it, I'll have to rack my brain and make it kind of interesting to have like a little zinger at the end.
I can always have a comment for a zinger. Let's go.
I'm gonna challenge you, dude. This week, I mean, you better have something to say. Luis, any thoughts from Mr. Jet over here?
No, I actually thought, I didn't realize that the steps were in reference to like a real IRL. I thought he was talking about like the Elden Ring tutorial.
No, he's talking about real stairs.
No,
then I have no comment.
And not even the Elden Ring, because Jet, get your spell check going, man, because he says Eld Ring.
Eld Ring.
Eld Ring. You just copy and pasted it just to see how this would look, and you just now saw this.
By the way,
you also need to do some spell check there, Carlos.
Hey, by the way, Jet, keep commenting, man. We're not gonna mess with you on the spelling every time, all right?
We won't. Actually, there is one thing I will point out. Even though he makes these comments about the bosses being hard, or at least having no chill, this is his first Souls game or Souls-like game. So he was having some tough times with some of the general enemies.
No, I mean,
he didn't know that there was a counter button.
No, and it's a good one to get into, man. It's definitely a good one to get into.
It is
kind of like,
it is a good introductory.
So there's a reason why it sold a crap load. It's actually our top story, so just wait a little bit. We are gonna get to another comment here from Matthew Gonzalez. I don't know if you guys know them. Luis or Dalan, do you guys happen to know this character?
Yeah,
okay. So he did write out a big old long paragraph of a thing, so I'm gonna try to get through it, but I did chop it up a little bit. Matthew, we love your comments, but please let's try to keep it a little brief. But he did say a little late, but the problem with Halo Infinite is that Microsoft and 343 were talking like it was going to be a launch title and be feature complete. Then they delayed the game a year, which people were fine with, but later on said the game would release in pieces. He said he beat it on Heroic, he collected every bottle cap, dress, it's interesting, Spartan core in the game in about 20 hours. They should have just delayed the whole thing and released the content and feature-packed game. Now that the excitement of a new Halo has died down, we're left with another boring season pass with like 4 deathmatch maps to play on. I can only play Infinite multiplayer for like an hour before I get bored playing on the same maps over and over again. We appreciate your comment, Matthew. I will say, though, you did say you spent like 20 hours collecting a whole bunch of stuff. So the game gave you plenty to do. But I do feel you on the, like, this is kind of one of those games that's supposed to be a long-term thing, right? Where it's like, you guys told us, and the co-op is not going to be out till 2026 at this point. Luis, you got some thoughts on this, man? Besides the shout out, I don't know if you want to say anything else of Mr. Matthew here, Mr. Matthew Gonzalez.
I'll say it on the next one.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think in theory the idea of them trying to find the middle ground of like, okay, the game's going to be delayed, but we'll release it in pieces, and the idea of that sounded good, right? But then they start coming out with it, and then the co-op isn't out, and then the multiplayer is kind of broken and all this stuff, and eventually I don't know if it's in here or not, but yeah, it is. So we'll talk about what Phil Spencer said later about that in a bit, but yeah, I think they did fumble the ball there a bit for sure, or not a bit, a lot.
Again,
hey, not like Cyberpunk, but they did fumble it.
Yeah, it's still good. Hey, it was still my number 2 game of the year, man. That's just how good that damn game was. But I do have lower expectations, I think, than most people. Or you know what? They sell it as if it's a long-term game, right? To me, I'm happy with give me a 10-hour story, a 10-hour campaign, and it was beautiful. I loved it, dude. Especially the hook, the little the hook thing, the hook mechanic to it.
Grappling hook.
Yes, thank you, Dalan.
Learn your words.
Thank you. I hope you're getting over the case of the Mondays there, Dalan. But yeah, there's definitely a grappling hook. Izzy Pop is helping you out, huh? But yeah, thank you, Matthew. Let's keep let's keep we love the comments. We did chop it up a little bit. But my favorite one, speaking of short comments, he did throw in another LOLG. Now let's swap to this. So we're gonna swap to our headline, our top story. I don't know if you listened to what was it, the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago? Luis just kept going like, let's swap to this. Let's switch.
Yeah, I heard it.
So anything
I do have to give him a shout out on that one, because he's the originator of the swap to this. He's the one that started that, and just like anything Nintendo, he would sort of try to make sound silly or sillier. So when we would watch those like those Nintendo Direct videos. He's like, why are they always like swap to this?
Yeah.
And then it just came out naturally.
Yeah.
Just
He's
watch it
also the
slide.
originator of the every time I say Nintendo being Nintendo, he's the one that started that. So
There you
you
go.
got to give him credit
There you
for
go.
those right there.
All right, well,
And
Matt.
it's pronounced Gee,
Oh,
not
Gee.
G.
Oh, G. I thought it was G. Okay, Gee. Now let's swap to this. So thank you very much, Matthew Jet. Prue, we just kind of threw him in here. He's gonna realize there's some smoke. But yeah, our headline this week is basically, so we did talk about it a little bit already, but Elden Ring or Eld Ring, versus Call of Duty. So this is the thing, right? We find out that Elden Ring, we've kind of already known actually in the last couple months, right, that this thing has been selling like gangbusters. I think the last time we mentioned it though, it had maybe crossed like the 6 million mark, possibly. I think.
Like man, it was highly popular. That's
well now
you need to know.
Well, now it's at over 13 million copies sold. Basically, it's kind of in that mainstream territory, right? A lot of people have played this. So many people have played this that it actually surpassed Call of Duty Vanguard sales. So it's the best-selling game in the past 12 months, and it's only been a couple months, right? And Vanguard, of course, right? So this is the prompt for you guys. Was Elden Ring that good, or was Call of Duty that bad? That the fact that Elden Ring is over here just outperforming this game in a couple months. We'll go with Dalan because he's had the most uproarious Monday reaction.
But I gotta say that's an unfair question. So the answer is undoubtedly both, because Vanguard had some major issues that made people want to walk away from it. And we all knew Elden Ring was coming out. We were all like, "This is the most anticipated game of 2022," which I believe at some point was 2021, but that got pushed back. But the fact is everybody was waiting for this game. It dropped. It made absolutely nobody upset. And so everybody just kept buying it, and then good word of mouth, and it just kept going.
If you actually played the game, it made plenty of people upset. But you play the game at some point.
I actually did play the game. I didn't beat it. Obviously, I started the game, and I got the core mechanics down because it's basically Dark Souls 4, but open world.
and it is this is the type of game you're getting into, right? It's the Elden Ring. You have to understand that. But you know what? I think part of it is also like. I hate it, Dalan. I hate not Elden Ring itself. The setting, high fantasy, dude. High fantasy to me is just ridiculous to me. All right, the long years, we're going back 20,000 years in an alternate reality, but people fucking eat this shit up, dude. They love high fantasy, right? That has to play into this as well, right?
Plus, hey man, they love being transported to a whole new world. All right,
but high fantasy, Luis. So
hey, don't let Chronicles of Narnia get your knickers in a bunch. Just deal with it. All right.
Damn. So Luis, Dalan did kind of like cheat his way out of the answer. He said both, which fair answer. I feel. What do you think, man? Was Elden Ring that good, or was Call of Duty Vanguard just that bad? Because 13 million copies, that means Vanguard still sold quite a bit, right? But I think Call of Duty's kind of are in the maybe 20s, right? I would think, when they're kind of like really at full force, full quality type of game. So what do you think? Are you gonna cheat on this answer too, Lise, or what do you think?
Well, I was actually looking for the sales numbers. I didn't know how much Vanguard sold right now. I should have looked it up earlier, but if it passed it up, then obviously it sold more. I don't know exactly what the number is, but I'm leaning more towards Elden Ring is better, which is why it sold more. I think what might have happened with Vanguard is people, you don't have necessarily any reason to doubt that a Call of Duty game is going to be bad. So I think a lot of people bought it.
Yeah.
Because that's a shitload of copies, right?
Yeah.
If it sold 13 million or whatever.
Dude, that's like $800 million or something like that. I think I was at work. Look, I was working, but I had a moment of, not working. I was like, 13 million copies times 60. I was like, damn, that's like $800 million right there.
You do a lot of Twitter at work, sir.
I don't think that's reflective of like the actual player base, especially if you go look on Twitch, like you see the streamers that are streaming it, you go to the game and see how many people are playing it. Like it's a dead game right now. Like people are not playing Vanguard at all. So that one definitely was bad, but the sales numbers specifically, I'd give credit to Elden Ring being that good.
Yeah, no, I like that answer.
You made me you made me think of the fact that I saw the thing earlier where I can't remember Babylon's Fall, how it's got one person keeping that game alive.
Dude, they're writing features on the one guy. Like, I think I saw it on Kotaku. Like, this is a one person on Babylon's Fall. And I think Square Enix was like, we're running with it. Weren't they saying, like, we're running with it? We're still going to drop DLC for the one person. For the one person that
keeping
is still
that alive.
I do like that answer though, Luis. I thought you were gonna cop out a little bit for it, which Dalan did. He fully copped out. He definitely was like, I will not answer this. But yeah, I mean, and I think Elden Ring has kind of the benefit of there's a little bit of a co-op. It's not full co-op. We still gotta mess with that, Dalan, to kind of give our experience on co-op. But it's not like a Borderlands, as far as I understand, right, where everyone's kind of making progress or whatever.
No, I think they blended most Bloodborne into it. Yeah. That's what they blended into.
So I mean, Elden Ring's got that, like, it's a hard ass game, so people can share in there. Misery loves company in a sense, right? Plus, people are breaking walls. They're finding ways to cheese the bosses. How can you multiply your runes easily? There's all this crap. Like, there's still little tiny guides that I see popping up on Twitter, like weeks later, months later. So it's definitely Elden Ring. Got to give them props. But yeah, I got to be honest with you though. At least I do like your answer, but I feel like it's a little bit of both as well. I feel like it's a little bit of like, Elden Ring is that good, and also Call of Duty was like, people were like, damn, this is not what we wanted. But on the multiplayer side, I still had fun with the campaign. Maybe I have low expectations. My bad. And we'll swap to this.
Well,
go ahead,
expectations.
And we'll swap to this. So Sony has confirmed that they're gonna have 56 PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games for extra premium. And if actually, this is kind of a cool thing that I kind of want to dig into it a little bit more. But if you already purchased some of these classic games like the PlayStation 1, PSP games, you'll actually have the new features, the save states and the rewind, and you won't need PlayStation Plus to take advantage of that. So I think I have quite a bit of a nice little collection of retro games. Some of the games they confirmed was that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be there, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Demon's Soul, Ape Escape, Siphon Filter, going back to PS1 era. And Ubisoft Plus Classics is also going to be part of the PlayStation Plus Extra / Premium. There's going to be 27 of those games at launch. Luis, were you able to kind of dig into this a little bit? Or have they convinced you, or not yet?
I looked at the list a bit. I don't remember every single game that I saw there, but basically what I had seen was not enough for me to want to get it just yet. The games that like caught my eye are games I had already bought or played.
Yeah.
The thing that I did like that was completely unexpected was that sort of like free upgrade from if you bought something way back on like the PS3 or your PSP, you just get that. So if it's part of the list, I guess. So there's a few games there that I bought. So maybe I'll take a look at them and see if I can play them on a PS5. But not yet. Not yet for me.
Yeah, I'll give them a free, like, just how they're gonna get me, dude. Just throw some trophies into some of these games, these older games. If it's like 10 trophies, like, sure. I guess now I'm stuck in the PlayStation Premium or whatever ecosystem because I gotta grab all these trophies. Especially, I didn't have a PlayStation. I think I've mentioned it before. Dalan knows my history about this. I've never had a PlayStation 1, so there's definitely a bunch of games that are like, it has trophies. Yeah, I'm gonna dip into it. Dalan,
you almost had a PlayStation 1, but you got caught.
Dalan, come on. Dalan, I don't understand what this is about here. Yeah,
all right. What are your thoughts on this? Just real quick, I was thinking about the fact that if they're bringing the PS3 games that we had actually purchased already into the mix, then I would love to play Split Second. And don't get me wrong, I know the game supposedly flopped, and when you play online, it was broken as hell. But that game was super fun. And if they put on, and we were recently talking about this, they put Power Stone on the system to be able to play online, I would love to play that with randos. I do not care. I would be on Power Stone way too much.
Okay, got you. So that's your criteria, right? But at least
put on some good games that people loved that we can't really play anymore, and give it online gameplay. Power Stone, what was it? Project. I can't remember the name of that game.
You're thinking Dreamcast games, but that's fine.
They also came Project Justice, but they also came out on PSP. That's the reason I bring it up.
I never heard of none of these games, Dalan.
Oh, Power Stone was nice, but I consider that a Dreamcast game. Project Justice, are you sure that came out on PlayStation or PSP? Project Justice. That was a fighting game, right? Okay.
Yeah, it was a fighting game.
So that's Dalan's criteria for all these. And I do like how PlayStation came out and they were like, they just muddied the water some more, dude. It's like it was already like mud, like, just kind of floating around. It's like, 56 games, and they just kind of swirl it up some more. So I still don't know.
Mud, dark mud.
I still don't know. So we'll switch this. We'll have some quick takes here. Actually, speaking of Red Dead Redemption 2, we'll go to that one real quick, Luis. Apparently, there's some, like, maybe you can help me out a little bit. There's something going on with Red Dead Redemption 2 online players, and Take-Two kind of, like, looked at them and was like, well, that's cool. You guys could stay over there. And there's, like, a hashtag Save Red Dead online movement. What's going on here, Luis? If you kind of help us out here, man.
This has been going on since like the release of Red Dead Online, basically, almost immediately. Right as soon as they ran out of content, which was pretty damn quick.
Oh damn!
Then people started trying to get the attention of the developers. So one of the tactics they did, this was like a year and a half ago or something. Characters in the game started dressing themselves up as clowns. And sort of like making themselves the butt of the joke. Like, we love this game, we want to keep playing this game, but we're clowns for continuing to sign on because you guys aren't giving us any content. And so that spread like wildfire, and then it died down. But I guess they're coming back. They're like, we got to try one more time. And now Take-Two's like, that's cute, you guys already did that and we didn't do anything about it. So
and the reason I came to this, though, I swapped to this, was the fact that they're talking about it's going to be one of the games as part of the PlayStation, like, premium games, right? Red Dead Redemption 2. So you would think there's like a revival, and so Rockstar would at least be like, all right, we took you guys into account. We're going to be part of the PlayStation's initiative. We're going to give you content or whatever it is, right? But, I mean, the servers are live, though, and everything is live. The complaint is that there's just no new content, like how GTA 5 does it, right? Which, by the way, Dalan, can you please put the camera on me? Stop logging into GTA 5. But that's kind of the thing, right? That it's not like GTA 5. It's not consistently updated. Am I correct on this?
No,
okay.
the updates are less sporadic. Like the big updates are less sporadic. And then the weekly updates are like, okay, so you're giving me, it's like the same things. A bonus for bounty hunters, and then 2 weeks later, a bonus for bounty hunters. Like, we already did that. Like, can you guys mix it up, please? And then it's all, there's no new things to buy, which is the main problem for the game. There's no properties. There's no, like, new guns, new whatever. So you're giving people ways to make more money, but then they're like, well, there's nothing for me to buy because I already have this stuff, or I just don't want it.
Look,
so they're in this weird sort of predicament.
They are in a weird predicament, and I will say this. Please to log off of GTA 5, go to Red Dead Redemption 2, and save that game. Give it a more community. Mainly, I want to split the base. So Rockstar, like, what do we do? What do we do? We got to make GTA 6. That's the only thing that we can do here. Dalan, what are your thoughts on this here? Have you been following this little drama going on?
I actually had not been following the drama, but I'm a little just based on what Luis has said. I'm like, man, I'm surprised that people are even still playing Red Dead Redemption Online. I know that people like to play it because, it's Rockstar and they get to do whatever the heck they want and go play with their friends online. But when you run out of content, you've got a problem. Because then you're actually, oh man, I'm dying.
You all right, Dylan? We'll give you a moment, Dylan. We'll give you a moment.
Yeah, thanks for the moment. But you run out of content, you're gonna end up like Anthem. I don't want to see Red Dead end up like Anthem. Period. Okay. Red Dead was a good game, and I know that. Even though I didn't beat the game, I will still give the game its props.
I will say this, Dylan. How dare you compare Anthem to like one of the best games ever made, dude? How dare you? How dare you, Dylan? How dare you?
Into Anthem. I don't want to see anybody turn into Anthem. It's like comparing something to Cyberpunk 2077. I don't want people to have the same downfall that Cyberpunk did. Yes, they're doing their little comeback thing on Cyberpunk, but if Red Dead can't figure something out for their online system, the only good thing about Red Dead 2 is going to be the actual campaign, and everybody who likes Rockstar games, but everybody who likes Rockstar games, that's going to be the only thing that they play when they put all that time and money into the multiplayer.
Yeah, no, all I want them to do is put all the time and money into a campaign. Never mind the multiplayer. All right, so everyone go to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Give us some DLC. Yeah. I want another I need a new chapter.
Yeah, no, everyone go to Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's split the base on GTA 5, so they have to make GTA 6. We'll swap to this next one. So Nintendo says that Switch Sports is off to a, quote, extremely strong start. It's mainly being purchased by, quote, customers in their mid-20s who used to play Wii Sports, end quote. So I think there's some shenanigans going on right there, dude. Like
There
just the wording, and this is coming off of like they just announced a whole bunch of games sold pretty well. Pokemon Legends Arceus sold like 12 million copies. Metroid Dread sold 2.9 million, which is it's really like the third like small pillar of all the Nintendo series, but it's so 3 million copies is nothing to like sneeze about, right? Or sneeze at. But I've been playing this. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more and what you've been playing. But it's interesting, right? It's kind of like people have been buying it. I mean, the kids that remember, Wii Sports.
It's got the little kids that said, "I liked Wii Sports. Let me get Switch Sports." But it's more for the parents.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got it, dude. No way, my daughter doesn't know about Wii Sports, man. I mean
she knows, but she doesn't
not even.
know.
Yeah, I don't even think so. I mean, Wii Sports, you're talking like 06, man. And the Wii U, nobody bought the Wii U, man. They couldn't give those things away, so there was definitely no like knowing about Wii U Sports either. So it's definitely us. We were definitely that demographic that's like, yeah, we told Grandma and Grandpa to play this game with us. Anything else on that, Dalan? Before we get to Luis's thoughts on this.
Actually, I forgot my take on it.
So okay, we'll come back to you if you so desire, Dylan. Just make sure to let us know. Luis, your thoughts here?
Yeah, for someone who's so like secretive about their numbers, they sure threw a lot of interesting details here of like strong start customers in their mid 20s who used to play the game. So like, where did they get all this information?
Yeah.
Did they like send out a little email and people clicked it? Maybe only the mid 20s clicked it, and I don't know, man.
The only thing I could think of is like it's kind of a bomb, like relative bomb. I think they sell. How about this? They sell as much as Metroid Dread. To them, it's like it's a bomb, right? like it's like, well, it's good for Metroid Dread, but not for this Switch sports complex or whatever you call it, this franchise. But maybe that's what it is, right? It's tricky wording, right? It's kind of tricky wording where they could have been like it sold 5 or 10 million or whatever right out the gate. Dalan?
Well, I get the fact that Wii Sports was kind of big, but wasn't Wii Fit bigger at the time?
A lot of things were big.
Buying Wii Fit.
A lot of things were big just in general, just because of the install base, man. I mean, you're talking like 100 million. I don't. Ultimately, it was more than 100 million Wii.
It's like sold. Almost every household had a Wii.
Yeah,
that was way too much.
Yeah, it was incredible, like how many Wiis were out there. So just the fact of like that huge install base. Wii Sports, I don't know how much it sold, or a Wii Fit, right? A Wii Fit, it could have been a 5 million seller, 10 million seller easily. But
hey, after COVID-19, or whether you think it's over or not, they could have did a Switch Fit and see how many people buy that, because people need to get back in shape. They're out there fake swimming in the living room. I'd love to see this.
It's called Ring Fit Adventure, and they give you a whole little thing
where
you squeeze it.
You got a little ring.
Yeah, and you got a little.
I don't count that.
Why not? And it's an RPG, man. It's a little RPG. You start battling while you're doing squats and all that, and it's got a little leg strap that they expect you to have actually for this Switch Sports version. All right, Luis, anything else before we switch to the next one here? Will we swap to the next one? Okay, we'll swap to this. Fall Guys is going free to play in June. That's coming to Xbox and Switch as well. I was thinking like, damn, dude, this game was everywhere already, but it wasn't. It was a free PlayStation Plus game. It came out maybe last year, right? So it's finally like it's free to play. It's coming to Xbox and Switch. Luis, are you kind of hyped about this? You're gonna get back into Follies, maybe?
If I'm drunk and bored one night, maybe, but no, they had to make this move because it did come in with a big splash, similar to Knockout City, because it was free.
Yeah.
And then once it went paid, after you couldn't claim it on PlayStation Plus, then people sort of started dropping off. So I guess now that they're bringing it to Switch and these other platforms doing that free to play sort of thing, that's a smart move, I think, for them. So hopefully they get some of that user base back.
Yeah, and I mean, they take advantage that, okay, now it's coming to the Xbox and Switch, and now, I don't know if it's crossplay. I don't know if we kind of dug that much into it, but I would assume it's going to be crossplay, right?
I saw some video.
Yeah. Get the
unless Prue can get his DLC costume, I don't think enough people.
What was the one? What was the one he was trying to get? He was trying to get
a dummy.
Yeah, and Yeah, he was trying to get the crash test dummy while we were playing. He's like, damn, how do you get the crash test dummy? And I think he looked it up, right? He like Googled it, and he's like, in order to get the crash test dummy, you will have to have participated in the open beta. Fuck! You could sense his frustration that he knew he missed it. He knew it just wasn't gonna happen. He should have been in the beta. Well, there you go. He should have been in the beta. We're gonna swap to this next one. Gears is gonna get a Master Chief Collection type collection. I don't know what I typed in here. Basically, they're gonna Master Chief type treatment of it, right? We have a quote. This is from Nick Baker of the Xbox Era podcast. This was via VGC. One of our favorites out there, Video Games Chronicle. He said, a quote, "A while back I said there's another Microsoft franchise that's getting the Master Chief Collection type treatment. I am of the belief that this is coming. This is coming this year." So I know you're kind of a Gears fan, Dalan. We both are, right? We still kind of have to co-op through the games a little bit, which I'm down to do. Does this get you kind of hyped for a little remaster, I guess, a little Master Chief type collection?
Honestly, this game really needed it, especially if they're going to enhance the visuals that came with the game. Because when we went back and played it on an Xbox 360, it still held up really well. And just enhancing the graphics for people to be able to play now in one nice bundled collection, maybe redoing some of the cutscenes like they did for Halo 1 and Halo 2.
That's right, yeah.
That'd be excellent. And then they give you that button to switch between old graphics and new graphics. You get to see the generous lathering of Vaseline across the first game versus the clear-cut second game. I'd love to see this.
Yeah, so it's really weird because even with like the Halo collection, the Master Chief collection, they had remade like 1 and 2 before the collection was even out. So Gears actually has like, I think 1, I don't know if 2, but I think 1 they did remaster already. So even this one's kind of gonna be a weird little like hodgepodge of like throwing all this crap together. It's like, yeah, some are, some aren't. So it's interesting. We'll see. It's already up there. It's already. I feel like it's pretty runs well enough. Maybe like you were saying, like I was about to mention too, to get rid of the Vaseline generally lathered across the screen from the 360 era. But I don't know. I'd be interested to see what more they could do with it, because I feel like it's good enough now, especially with Game Pass and the fact that they're already readily available. It's just a matter of, I'm just interested. I guess I'm interested to see how they could upgrade it. Luis, your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I never finished any of the because I didn't own an Xbox, so I never finished any of the Gears of War games. This doesn't interest me too much, though. Maybe I'll get to them, but what I really hope this means is that they're just gearing up and hyping up to make a new Gears game, because that's what I would rather play than a collection of the old ones, even if they're remastered or whatever. But
wait, didn't they like change the main character? Like Phoenix isn't the main character anymore.
Spoilers.
It's somebody else.
Dalan, he just told you that he didn't play none of these. Well, look.
That's fine, but they've been out for years. It's one of those, am I really spoiling the movie when it came out in 2002? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, general audience, maybe. But if I had literally just told you I never beat these games.
Come on, Dalan.
I don't care.
How about this?
Keep on telling your Izzy Pop.
How about this? No, how about no spoilers, but well, no spoilers, really. I was just going to say that these are type of games that you're thinking like, oh, it's a third-person shooter. I've seen enough of these, but they always manage to surprise you with how engaging they are. Like how the battles are like, oh, this is a good game. But every single game, single Gears game I go into, like, okay, here we go again. No third-person roadie run here. Here we go again. But they do manage to surprise you. And I think they are working on 6, though, at least. I don't know if that's what you were saying, that maybe they're
I thought they already dropped 6.
I don't know if that's what you were mentioning, that they were kind of gathering interest. But I think they're kind of actively working on it. It's just a matter of waiting. Because, well, there was 5, Dalan, and there was Hive Busters, which the last little piece that they did, which was kind of like a 2, 3, 4 hour nice little campaign. It's nice. It was a nice little DLC pack to it. But I think they're actively working on it. I think it's just a matter of, like, we don't have nothing else. Let's just throw this crap together. I kind of... That's why I'm interested to see what they do. Dalan, and before we move on.
And don't worry, Luis, they eventually got away from their steroid-sized bodies.
They're still thick.
They're still steroidy.
They're still thick. They're still thick, but just not as thick as originally. And I will say, Luis, it's kind of tricky playing those games online because they're all online co-op. But like I put it in the chat, but I looked it up. Like some of the games are just 2 players, some are just 3 players, some are just 4 players. So it's a little tricky. Just don't expect to be able to play 4 players all the way across, I suppose. This is what I'll say. Buyer beware. We'll switch to this. Starfield, which had the perfect date, right? The launch date 11/11/22 is being delayed. That along with Redfall. I haven't heard too much about Redfall, but that's being made by Arcane. I found out it's being made by Arcane Austin. And I don't want another Arcane game, dude. I think I'm good on that. So that my hype went down for it. But Luis, I know what's this game? Their last Arcane game. You're not gonna help me?
Deathloop?
Yeah, Deathloop.
Yeah, he's talking about the most arcane game that ever arcade.
It wasn't though.
So I feel like maybe Redfall might be up your alley, right? But so Starfield got delayed, Redfall got delayed. Phil Spencer on Twitter did say, quote, "These decisions are hard on teams making the games and our fans. While I fully support giving teams time to release these great games when they are ready, we hear the feedback, delivering quality and consistency as expected. We will continue to work to better meet those expectations." Luis, I know you kind of teased it a little bit at the top of the show, but what do you gather here from Mr. Phil Spencer? What are your thoughts here?
Based off of his wording there, I wonder if it was more of it could be a combination of things, but I think because the first domino that fell was Cyberpunk, right? And then studios started just coming out and saying, okay, delay everything until it's ready. I think that's sort of, maybe now they're starting to reel it in a bit, whereas before it was just let us know if you need more time, and now they're like, okay, but now we're missing all these, every single deadline. Can we please give us a solid date? So maybe it's because developers realized they could push things back a bit and make the thing that they actually envisioned, they're starting to scope creep and push in more features that weren't necessarily planned.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to open that line of communication to say, okay, so scope back and let us know what you can deliver during this time, so we don't have to push as many dates back. I think that's what's going on.
So, I mean, in a way, it kind of gives developers some power back, right? They have this prime example of, Cyberpunk. Need I say more? And, I think it's generally understood. It was fuck, that was, it was wrong. What happened?
It was egregious.
But I think another way to look at it, too, it was kind of because they could kind of okay, we'll release a part of the game, they sort of like Matthew was mentioning at the beginning of the show. It's well, Halo is not complete. Halo Infinite is not complete. So for some it is. For me, I was I just wanted the campaign. The multiplayer I think is fun, right?
But was it though?
But what, the multiplayer? Dude,
the campaign.
Oh,
was it complete?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it needs co-op, man. It needs co-op to be way more funner. All right.
Hey, they immediately moved away from story that should have been there. That was still upsetting.
I feel like it was a great campaign, dude. And I don't even like those kind of games where you're go do these objectives, go do these, and I was still able to critical path that game. So I was still able to have fun with it. But I think it's also part of the like you were saying, Luis, the developers gain some power back. It's look at Cyberpunk, but also this Game Pass situation too, right? With Halo Infinite was okay, that's fine that we're Game Pass, but still we want to deliver something that's quote unquote a complete game, right? And he's kind of they want to deliver quality and consistency as expected. So maybe they just don't want to disappoint, I guess, which they shouldn't ever. But Cyberpunk definitely was we're gonna roll the dice. We're going to roll the dice and find out. Oh, and they did. So we got a bunch of delayed games now, man. My prediction is that God of War Ragnarok is next, man. It would be kind of nice because that game, as far as we understand, is still coming out this fall, right? Or it's coming out at some point this year. But if there's no Ragnarok, there's no Starfield, there's no... I guess we have Call of Duty, man, and we'll see. We'll see people.
We have Vanguard.
We'll have Call of Duty.
The new one, Modern Warfare 2.
I know.
And people. I think a lot of people are also understanding that it's wait, this is a good one. We need to avoid the, what do we call it? The blast radius. We need to avoid the blast radius of Call of Duty. But we'll see. Anything else on that, Luis, or we can swap to the next one?
No.
Okay, we're swapping to the next one. This one's for you, Dalan. Dead Space, the remastered. I don't know if it's just Dead Space. I think they might just be calling it Dead Space, right? But
they are just calling it Dead Space, but it is a remake.
That's definitely getting a release date, January 27, 2023. I wasn't that hyped about it, and I still think it's like some BS that they're like, we're remaking a game that we made 7 years ago, or I don't know, however long it was. It just feels like it's not long.
It was a long time ago.
It was 360 era, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it was PS. I think it was PS. It was early PS3 era.
So it might just be a matter of like, I don't know what year we live in. We are in 2023.
When did this happen?
We are in 2023. But that being said, I did look at some of the screens. They were doing some comparisons of the original and the new one. I was like, oh damn, they kind of cleaned it up. I still, I'll mess with it though, especially if it has co-op. I hope it has co-op. Do we know anything about that, Dalan? If it has co-op or
it definitely does not have co-op. Okay. It is actually just a remake of the original one, but they did so many graphical updates and sound updates, and they want to release it again for the current generation that's actually playing harder games. Because when that game originally came out, my nephew was like 6 years old, but I could tell you right now, he would love to play that game.
Yeah, and Dead Space 2 is kind of like the peak of that franchise too, right? Like, I think even if they bring it up to those standards, right? Like some more cinematics into it. Because Dead Space, I don't know if you remember, but that thing started explosive, dude. It started amazing. It was like they had a nice little run, dude. EA, like Dead Space 2 and Mass Effect 2 had like some amazing intro sequences. So even just bringing it up to that point, January 27th is kind of like the perfect time, right? We don't know what else is coming out, but there's a lot of games getting pushed, so we'll see what else is.
Hey, the original release for Dead Space was 2008. Like, I was almost fresh out of high school at that point.
That's half a lifetime ago. That's reasonable. That's very reasonable to get an update.
It deserves one.
The next one we have on here is the Jedi Fallen Order sequel has a name. It's apparently called Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That's according to Mr. Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat. And he's a pretty good source. He gets some good sourcing, so I think he's probably spot on this one. Luis, what are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, he ain't Bloomberg, but Jeff Grubb,
Bloomberg, yeah. Jason Schreier is another one that he kind of like, he pushes it, but I think he pushes it for the most part in a good direction. Sometimes
yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Fallen Order was such a good game.
We'll leave it at that. But anything else besides just the name, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I had mentioned multiple times these past few episodes, I still have not played Fallen Order, but this title gives me it alludes to some sort of fact that I'm like, okay, maybe I could see where it ends. But
no, it doesn't allude to that at all. You'll be fine.
Damn, he can't even let me have my own spoilers, dude.
No, you can't spoil yourself like that. You're just gonna have to live in the mystery. You gotta swim in the unknown here, Luis. You just gotta do it.
I
was trying to
break the mold.
Wait, Luis, I'm trying to understand. What do you mean? Like, there's an end? I guess I'm a little confused. Is this an off the podcast type of thing, or
no? He's just talking about the word survivor, Carlos.
But I guess what he's asking is how I got to that point. So, Fallen Order, an order has fallen, right? And then there's one main Jedi, and then it's called Survivor.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Someone survives at the end. I don't know who.
Yeah,
but
I got you. Spoilers.
He's making some leaps.
Spoilers. I like how Dalan, like, he was dead on, dude. You give Dalan a whodunit, a wordplay on something, he's there, dude. He's there for it. You gotta give me a moment to catch up, but I did. I caught up. Next thing on here, speaking of wordplay, and swap to this. FIFA will be creating a rival to EA Sports FC, which is, I don't know if we've talked about it at least, but basically there's going to be no more EA FIFA game anymore. They're saying, like, forget FIFA, we're just going to do EA Sports FC, which to me is kind of interesting. I want to see kind of how they play that out. They say all the leagues are in cahoots already, so I'm assuming they don't need the FIFA name, but it's interesting to see how that'll play out. But FIFA did come out. FIFA president Gianni Infantino, good, nice name, Gianni. He said, quote, I can assure you that the only authentic, real game that has the FIFA name will be the best one available for gamers and football fans. The FIFA name is the only global original title. FIFA 23, FIFA 24, FIFA 25, and FIFA 26, and so on. The constant is the FIFA name, and it will remain forever and remain the best. So, yeah, FIFA's definitely coming out swinging. I love the smoke. But the real question is here, these guys are not developers. So, like, who is making this game? Like, why? How are they coming up with all this smoke when it's like EA was making these FIFA games? And it took them a while to make a pretty decent footballer, right? I think that's what they call them. They call them footballers. So, FIFA, who is making your game, dude? To talk about it's going to be the best. It's in the name. Luis, what are your thoughts on this, man? Who's making this? 2K? I'm thinking maybe 2K.
Somebody that doesn't exist that is not making this game right now will make this game. I don't know who it is, but yeah, the point is the reason, because he came out like with such I don't know what the
fervor,
fervor.
Yeah, that little, little fervor.
Came out with the gusto.
Yeah, exactly.
So the impression I had was that then FIFA had the rights to like all the tech in the game, but that's not the case.
No.
Like EA is just going, all right, fine, we just won't use FIFA in the title and we're chilling, right? And they're like, yeah, but our game, because it has FIFA, is going to be the best one.
23, 24, 25, and 26, and so on. And it
took these guys 20 some odd years at least, right, to make FIFA at the point where it is now. Like it's tech built upon tech for decades at this point. So this guy's, we're gonna look back at this date and this quote, and there's gonna be memes all over the place, all over the internet.
Oh, that's gotta be beautiful, dude. Because there's like, it's like you were saying that, because that's my thought too, right? It wasn't like FIFA was made within a year. I mean, EA Live, the NBA game, has been trying to get its shit together for like 7 years, dude. Right after NBA 2K has basically ate its lunch, right? So the fact that this guy has the hubris to be like, we're still the best because it's in the name, is like, dude, FIFA was not FIFA for like, it took a while, right? Like it took a while for them to make a decent football game, you know, a decent soccer game. So I love it though.
I think UFC has been going for quite some time. I think you just forgot.
Dalan, please to tie them together, Dalan, before I
UFC and their titles. Have you not played a UFC game ever?
That's fine, Dalan, but we're talking about like, this is FIFA the name. That's all it is. It's FIFA the name, and they licensed it for EA FIFA, the technology of it. I kind of hate you a little bit, but I do appreciate you.
You don't have to hate me. It's the same concept. You're just missing it.
No, I'm not. Please do explain the concept. See, even Luis is kind of like, The other one you won because 2 people understood. This time 2 people are in high disapproval. But no, I mean UFC. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I won't even try to tie that together, man. I can't. But we'll stop to this next one, Dalan. Yeah, I think you'll like this one. Gotham Knights on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Those versions have been canceled, and that's to quote, to provide players with the best possible gameplay experience, end quote, for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. Another thing that we're finding out, and I don't know if you knew already, Dalen's doing some recycling over there, so thank you for letting us listen in on all that, Dalan.
My bad.
And so I wasn't aware. I thought it was more players, but maybe they just never confirmed. But they confirmed that it will only be 2 players online, which I think for me and you, Dalan, we play a lot of co-op games, right? I think it's perfectly fine, but that does leave Luis kind of asked out, right? And we wanted him to join us for this Gotham Knights.
We always want people to join with us. The more the merrier, and the more chaotic it'll be, because I still remember doing, what was it, Halo 3 or Halo 4, when we had all 4 of us playing that game at the same time.
Super wacky,
2 people leaving, 2 people behind. It's fine. It's wacky. We're just going to keep falling off cliffs.
Super wacky. The game was definitely not keeping up with all that action at all. The frames were definitely like dipping into like the teens. They were in the teens. The frames were in the teens. It was rough. Let's start off with this, Dalan. I guess maybe the 2-player one isn't too much, but what do you think of them canceling the last generation version? I love it, dude. I love it. I love the fact that they're like,
when I heard this news, I was almost like, damn, they're canceling the game altogether. But then like the next day I found out it was just on the 2 consoles. And as of right now, I think I mentioned it quite some time ago, back when we were talking about how they were doing all the cross-play, or at least cross-console, how they were putting Horizon on 2 different
Yeah.
systems at the same time, launching on both PS4 and PS5. We just need to get away from that again.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, plenty of people have the original console. I definitely get that. But if we don't start moving forward and leaning into the next generation, we're still going to have too many people stuck on the previous generations.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about this, man. I'm pretty happy about, like, okay, let's get rid of that. You know, even though they try to convince us,
get rid of that.
even though they try to convince us that we're still gonna make the best product, which I think maybe with Horizon they kind of proved that. Horizon 2, I don't think there was many, like, you know, because we would have heard
Forbidden
it.
West.
You know, the Twitter nation would have been up in arms, right? It's like, oh, it's not as good because they did a PlayStation 4 version as well. But you know, this is Warner Brothers, all right? This isn't the behemoth. This isn't one of the best developers out there, the best publishing houses in Sony, right? This is Warner Brothers. So I'm happy that they no longer will be distracted. They can just focus on current gen. We could call it current gen, right?
Well, you could say it's focused on current gen, but with all the time that they put on the previous gen, you know it's just going to look like the previous gen.
Damn, I hope not, but I guess we're going to find out. Maybe that's the way they get away with it, right? Like, they're like, no, this is as good as we could get it. Then, like,
this was peak graphics right here.
Guys, these were peak last gen graphics that you guys are trying to get away with here. But 2 players, Dalan, we'll be ready to go, right? Do a little Gotham Knights 2-player mode. Did you check out any of the new footage? They showed, like, I'm guessing names right here, Dalan. Red Mage, Black Mage. I don't know.
Snaps.
Did they? Did you check out any of that footage?
You immediately said Red Mage. You're like, oh, that hurts so much. I hate you so much. Whenever it comes to comic books, I hate you so much.
Thank you.
Nightwing was one of them. I can't remember the other character.
Close enough. I said Black Mage, so close enough.
No, you didn't even say Black Mage.
Black Hood.
You. Oh my god.
All right, so we got yeah, okay. Did you see any of the footage? I guess is the question.
No, I didn't see any of the footage. I heard about it though, and it's one of those things that they already sold me the first time, and it's not even specifically about the characters that they have in the game that I'm super hyped about, or the playable characters. For me, it's more so the story that they've decided to revolve around. And once again, we brought this up, but I know you don't know who the heck this is, because when I bring up the Night of Owls,
Proudly so.
Dalan, I still.
Dalan, at some point you said
Court of Owls. I said Night of Owls.
Dalan, see, you even got it wrong. That's how
you
convoluted
get me confused because you're over here saying the stupid red.
Red Fang.
I said red. I said Red Mage and Black Mage, and I feel like I wasn't that far off. All right, I feel like I was pretty close. Yeah, come on, dude. And then you tell me the Batman is in year 1. It's actually year 2. I'm like, okay, why is it called the Batman then? Why isn't it called the Batman 2? So I'm trying to tell you, dude. Every time about it, it's book 2. How am I supposed to know that crap?
It's still only one Batman.
Book 2. Get out of here with that. All right, next one. This one's for you, Dalan. Resident Evil Reverse is finally rated for Stadia. So Stadia I guess has found its purpose, because all I ever hear about Stadia nowadays is like it was rated for Stadia. So Resident Evil Reverse is rated for Stadia. It was originally meant to come out in summer 2021. So that means we're getting closer, Dalan. Are you still hyped for
it? It was supposed to launch with the game for Resident Evil 8. And I know Luis had brought this up at one point, like, man, I completely forgot it was even supposed to come out with the game. But I was ready to play that game, and you got one round in for that game, and you know you enjoyed it, and they've had plenty of time to fix it. Plenty of time.
Okay, Dalan, damn, settle down over there.
Hey,
leave them alone. They're
the
working
reason
on
they
it.
took it down is because they were having issues with the connectivity for online play. Just look at their other games. That's all they got to do. They do online play with their other Resident Evil games. Why can't they get this one in order? They already have a system in place. What are they messing up their rollback netcode? They're messing up.
Hey, Luis, we broke Dalan, dude. We broke Dalan on that one.
It's Monday.
Network code is hard as shit, man.
I can't deal with this, man. I can't deal with this.
The last match I was in, like, the server shut off. Like, they didn't even let me join the next match, right? They were like, that's it. And I was like, all right.
No, you didn't get to finish the match. You were mid-match.
I was like, all right, I've seen enough. I've seen enough of this. Next, we're gonna swap to this next one. Fortnite is coming back to iPhone, iPad, and Android via Xbox Cloud. And this from Tim Sweeney. I don't know if he's a president at Epic or kind of what he does over there, but he's a big shot over there.
I don't know what he does.
Maybe co-founder. I should have put down his honorific, Dalan. His honorific or his title. But he on a tweet he said, "quote No subscription required." No 30% Apple tax. And this guy, I like the smoke, dude. I like the smoke that this guy brings. He's like, no 30% Apple tax. And you don't, I don't even think you need, no subscription, no nothing. You just click into Xbox Cloud and you're good to go. But this is a big deal for you, Dalan, I suppose?
I can't say a big deal. I had the curiosity for Tim Sweeney Sama. I was wondering who really won that lawsuit. Who really won that lawsuit?
Dude, a lot of people lost, though. I don't know if anybody particularly won, but
who really won here?
A lot of people
Apple got an Apple Pay of like $3 million or whatever it was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yeah.
But they're still coming back, and they're still able to release this game without that Apple tax. So, who really won?
Dude, a lot of people lost, man. There was a lot of like shit that came out of that. That was like people are like,
dirty laundry being aired.
Yeah, because was it like Microsoft was thrown in there, Sony was thrown in there? It was like, damn. How
emails
people they dragged everybody through the mud.
So I don't know if anyone won really, dude. I think a lot of people lost for sure. The next one we have on here, this is one you've been waiting for, Dalan, and we finally have some answers for you, something definitive. All right, so Ubisoft Montreal. Lisa, we broke Lisa a little bit.
That's very definitive.
Hey, don't read ahead. Don't read ahead out here. Ubisoft Montreal is taking over the development duties on Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, the remake. Dalan, I know you've been waiting on that, and it will release, quote unquote, when it's ready. So there's no date, no 2022, no 23, no nothing, dude. When it's ready. Luis, what are your thoughts on this, man? You know, I know you kind of, it was very definitive of them, right? Give us a little closer to a date.
Yeah. Good on them for letting us, keeping us up to date. But I mean, it probably wasn't an easy call to make, and it was probably similarly to Metroid, right? When we were supposed to expect the reveal years ago, and they're like, actually, no, we're gonna start from scratch because who we went with, it's just not working out.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's a similar situation where they're remaking the game and they're just like, it's just not hitting. We got to start over.
Yeah.
Or something. So maybe they tried internally a few times with that dev, but now they're just
because I think this one is one of those where they kind of have to get it right, though. I do feel like they're trying to relaunch this, right? Like they really are trying to like gauge some interest. Like let's relaunch this like Prince of Persia in 3D, and it was an incredible game. I will side with you on that, Dalan. It's incredible. I don't know why you're so hyped and you're like, it's coming out, it's gonna be great. It's like, no, it looks like crap. I was saying that, so I hope we can go back to one of these podcasts, and I think I was saying that it doesn't look great. But no, I think they do have to get it right, and it does. I kind of cut it out of the rundown, but you did mention it, Luis. I mean, one of Nintendo was like for what's that reboot, Advance Wars reboot 1 and 2. They don't even have a date for that. It says
to be determined.
To be determined, to be announced. I like the fact though that a person had it in their hands and was playing the full game, and Nintendo was like, "Thank you for requesting a refund for this," and the person was like, "Fuck." So they got taken.
You took this back.
I did not ask for a refund. But so that one's complete. That one's in the can. That's just a matter of there's a lot of crap going on, Ukraine, Russia stuff, and all that, right? We know what that's about. The one that hurts, and like Luis kind of mentioned it, I think Metroid Prime 4, dude. This game is not coming out for a while. All right,
it's not coming out at all.
Damn, man, no, it's coming out.
That game's about to hit the chopping block, man. It's gonna hit the chopping block.
Hey, it's coming out, Dalan, or Salient Points.
Carlos, they announced Metroid Prime 4 and came out with Dread before 4 came out.
Well, yeah, but Dread's been not
get it right.
Yeah, and they want to get it right, and Dread has been kind of. And I think for Dread they finally found a good, competent developer, I guess, with the Spanish studio Mercury Steam, where they showed what they proved themselves with Metroid. Zero Mission or whatever the 3DS game was, Samus Returns. They kind of proved themselves. And guess what? They did the 360 shooting, Dalan. That I was like, no, it will never work, and it kind of did work.
Hey man, they also did a great job with. It was one of the Castlevania games. I think it was Lords of Shadow 1.
Oh, okay. So see, they've been kind of proving themselves. But no, Metroid Prime 4 just makes me sad. That one's just pretty far out. It's pretty far out. But it will come out. Otherwise, Salient Points, me, Dalan, and Luis, we're gonna go up to Nintendo. We're gonna strike.
No, you're on your own. I'm gonna go take a nap in my tent. I'm gonna watch you strike.
Dan, you gotta be getting over Mondays, dude. That's why you can't strike at Nintendo headquarters. But we won't move on without your thoughts, Dan, because we kind of crapped on you a little bit on this. But what are you thinking here, man? You like the definitive when it's ready, though? You're digging that?
I'm not a fan of this statement, but at the same time, if they're actually working on it and they don't set it aside like they did Metroid Prime 4, then I can be okay with it, especially since it went back to Ubisoft Montreal. But the one concern I have about it going to Ubisoft Montreal is that I don't want it to turn into Assassin's Creed. Because there was a game, there was another Prince of Persia game that came out called Forgotten Sands, and at this point that game was very much forgotten, but it sold well. And the game was good.
Okay. Wait, was that that wasn't a sequel or like the third game? That was like it came out like years after the original trilogy of these, right?
It came out years after the original trilogy. It released on the PS3, I believe, and it was like in between 2 and 3. But it was an excellent game. And I was super happy with that game. And I wanted them to make more like that. But after that installment, we never saw Prince of Persia again. Because that other Prince of Persia that came out before that, called Prince of Persia, where, you could infinitely fall into crevices and never die because you get saved by a genie lady. It kind of ruined the series.
They definitely had their own. They've had their little stumbles, but I think that original trilogy was pretty damn good, right? I mean, the third game was. The third game was Prince of Persia Cross Lincoln Park, right? But that was fine, right? That was okay. It was still a
wait. Why you call it Cross? Oh,
did it?
I was like, Cross Lincoln Park. The second one was Godsmack. They had Godsmack.
Is that what it was? At some point, it was like heavy metal over like Prince of Persia gameplay, right?
That was the second one. Okay. Like every time you're running from the Dahaka, they would play "I Stand Alone" every single time.
Wait, officially licensed. That was the song from Godsmack. Okay, gotcha.
That was the song.
Reasonable. I was like, I can't play this, man. But this is excellent. So I think they have to get it right. I think it's gonna be one of those like we feel like this is a strong enough franchise where we need to bring it back, and we need to bring it back the right way. Exactly. The other one, this one I know is just for me, but Yu Suzuki is talking about there's, quote, no concrete plans for Shenmue 4, but wants the next game to be more accessible if it happens. I know I've talked about it in the last few weeks about how I was kind of like catching up to the games to catch up to the anime, which that anime kind of puts me to sleep, I gotta be honest, and I haven't like finished it. But those games are rough, man. They're really rough. Even Shenmue 3 was pretty rough. I still was like, I did as much as I can. I don't know if I platinum. I think I platinum all 3 of them, which I guess they were fun enough. Did you beat it though? Yeah, I beat them in platinum. You have to beat the games usually to platinum them.
Okay.
But I did play through all the games, and it's rough. I think I was looking back at some of like the interviews they did for Shenmue 3, and nobody wanted to, like, Deep Silver was like, that game performed fine. Like, it was like the answer to the question, how did that game do? That game performed fine. So it's an uphill battle for Shenmue 4, and it's like we already have like a good kind of like spiritual successor with the Yakuza series and all that, which we talked about before. But it's an uphill battle with Shenmue 4. Even for me, that I was kind of like, all right, they're wacky games. They're not really as modern as they should be. But at least Yu Suzuki is realistic, and he's like, we got to make it more accessible. We gotta make it more so people like Dalan and people like Lise are kind of interested, or at least people that like the Yakuza series are at least interested in these games.
At this point, they just need to go back and remaster 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, they're
remake them. They need to remake them or remake one of the two. And they just need to get the guys who did the Yakuza series and make these Shenmue games as wacky as possible.
That's true. Thank you for joining me for that one, Dalan. We put it as redacted in the rundown when it's really just for Carlos. But thank you for joining me on some feedback on that.
You're welcome.
And we'll switch to
I'd love to play them if they were remade.
They are very accessible. I have the PS3 copies.
Accessible and playable are two different things, sir.
Yeah, they can be definitely in the Shenmue. Yeah. But I do have them, Dalan. I have 1, 2, and 3. They'll work on your PS5. They're a little rough. But you can play them. Just grab a guide, dude. Grab a guide. Deal with the frustration
Grab a
of
guide. Just critical path it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, just definitely critical path. So we're moving on to, we're gonna swap to this. What you been playing? We're gonna start off with Luis. I see Luis has it redacted as well. Luis, what you been playing out here, man?
Super Nintendo.
I mean, Dalan touched on it earlier, but just GTA 5, man. There's no update. Just GTA 5.
That's all you need to know. I got it redacted so it could be a mystery. But let's say GTA 5. That is the game of the year. Once again.
I mean, once again, Dalan, put the camera on me, please. Stop logging into GTA 5. Also, go to Red Dead Redemption 2. Save Red Dead Redemption hashtag. Let's divide that fan base so they can work on GTA 6, because they're like, where do we go from here? We just need to make GTA 6. So please, Red Dead Redemption 2 and stop logging into GTA 5.
And I'm pretty sure I think we had a conversation where they actually announced that they were working on GTA 6, weren't they?
No,
but
I don't doubt that they've been working on it. They just have
They're just taking their dear sweet time. They made a box, they put some ideas in it, and they put it on a shelf and said, "There it is. I'm working on it."
We are still making millions and millions of dollars on GTA 5, so we have no rush to get to that game, to GTA 6. Why would we cut off our own legs, or whatever it is? Or what's the other phrase that help me out with the white phrases, Dalan? You burn your nose to spite your own face, or what's the phrase, Dalan? Help me out here.
Cut off your nose to spite your own face.
Boom. Thank you, Dalan. See that? Why would they do that? And even like with Mario Kart 8, I was seeing a couple articles in the last week or so where they're like, if this thing keeps selling as well as it is, we will never get a 9. And it was like, yeah, that's the same thing with GTA 5. Why would they care to make a new one? Dalan, what have you been playing, man?
I actually played a few games, and one of them I briefly touched base on, which is Elden Ring, which I immediately felt the Dark Souls in it. And I have the same problem with this game that I have with all the other Dark Souls games, that it's kind of slow for me. I mean, all the enemies are few and far in between, but now we have the what was it, the hunter gatherer going on. You got to collect things in order to be able to level up your equipment. So that's fun, and it's open worlds. But I will say this: the game is far beautiful compared to the previous games that I had played, with the exception of maybe Bloodborne, because Bloodborne was a very smooth.
That was
game.
A nice looking game.
Yeah, but Elden Ring, very accessible, significantly easier than some of the previous Dark Souls games. Don't get me wrong, it has its hard aspects, because as soon as you walk out, brief spoiler, okay, if you don't want to hear it, but it's right at the beginning of the game and you get past it really easily. As soon as you walk out of the first cave and into the actual open world, there's a boss right there in your face, and he's on a horse, and he just murdered me 3 times in a row. I'm like, this is fine. You just gotta walk around.
Now, were you able to skip that tutorial, Dalan? Because at some point they were like, no, you will not skip this tutorial.
I was able to skip the tutorial. I could have easily missed it, because there was a pit off to the right as you're supposed to go to the tutorial, or you can go left through the door into the world.
I want to go into the world. I want to have my Fallout moment coming out of the vault, I want to do it.
And quite honestly, the way the game plays, I could have did without the tutorial, because I played the other Souls games. If you play the other Souls games or Bloodborne or any of the other games, you'll be fine just walking out.
Now, it is accessible in a way, and maybe it's a little more accessible than the previous Souls games have been. It's still wacky though, man. You still gotta look some crap up and be like, okay, wait, how do I equip arrows? How do I do this? How do I there's still a lot of things where even that first boss, I don't think I've even beaten that boss yet. I went around, I was like, let me beat other things up, and I beat 2 other bosses before even going back to that one. And I'm like, you know what, that guy's just murdering me. So even that, realizing that you don't necessarily have to beat everything along your path, you can come back to it later, or you can keep whacking at it and try to power up enough to kill it.
I mean, or you could just beat the game in 22 minutes with a speed run.
There you go. What else you been playing, Dalan?
I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. And I was 100% right about my thought process for this game. Is you kind of don't see the significant graphical jumps that they made for the game when you go straight from Zero Dawn directly into Forbidden West, because it's basically just continuing the game, but now they took everything away from you.
I like Metroid.
And
It's a little, a little Metroid progression in that sense.
They make up some BS reason as to why all of your stuff got taken away from you, but then
like Metroid, like Metroid,
hey,
like
hey,
Metroid.
This one they took away the ability to whistle, and that was a bit of a thing that was apparently broken for the first game. That whistle was so much helpful. You just had the whistle from the beginning of the game. You could lure one enemy to you at a time, but nah, they took that away. You got to use the rocks.
Oh yeah, it was super cheesable. The whistle was super cheesable.
I choose the heck out of that whistle, but now I got to really think about where I'm going and where I'm going to throw these rocks now. And they changed the way that the focus worked, where you're supposed to actually tap in the R3 button and you could scan the environment versus actually opening up your focus and really looking around in it, moving slow. And the scanning definitely does help, but it was kind of confusing at first because I couldn't figure out how to open my focus properly. But other than that, it's really this is one of those games where side questing is not going to distract me. It is about critical path this time, because the only thing that really kept me playing the game right now was the story. That's it.
So you're having fun with that Horizon thing. What else, man? I know you dipped into some Game Pass action as well. Still getting a lot. I
did dip into some Game Pass action. Those first two games was my what's the name of it, Carlos? The thing that we use. My GameFly. No, I was using my GameFly action.
Okay, all right, reasonable.
Yes, they still exist because I've had a couple of people ask me that question.
We still waiting on that sponsorship, GameFly. We're still waiting on that actually. What else?
But for Game Pass, I decided to get a couple of games, and I know you were using it too, Carlos, but I decided to go and play that dice game that we complained about some time ago when we saw the trailer for it during one of the E3s, Lost in Random. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, this game is significantly easier than I thought it would be. And it very much it reminds me of all the amalgamations of Tim Burton and his claymation stuff going on and his stop motion. I mean, some of it's not Tim Burton, as I'm about to name, like Box Trolls. What was it? Kibu and the Two Strings? I can't remember his actual name now.
Oh yeah, that one was good. I don't think that was the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was something like that. But
Kubo maybe.
Kubo and the Two Strings, Nightmare Before Christmas.
But
Coraline,
so this was the game.
They take that animation, it's beautiful animation.
So this was the game that we were like, you're gonna get a deck of cards and you're gonna run out of moves. That's not what this is, right? I guess.
You do get a deck of cards, and it's minimal moves until you build up your deck. However, as you're attacking enemies, you just build up a special, and you get to roll your dice, and you get to use those cards anytime you have the energy to use the cards. That's all it is.
It's on Game Pass. It's on Game Pass. That might be. I'll roll the dice, I guess.
It's a super easy game. I guarantee you. If you want to be able to relax and enjoy a Coraline type story or Corpse Bride type story and go into the world of stop motion claymation, this is
that sounds a little enticing. But as soon as I get like a deck of cards and I run out of moves, then I'm gone.
You're not gonna run out of moves. I'll give you an example. Is you're out there attacking enemies and you gather up energy and you roll your dice and you get 5 cards that randomly got picked out of your deck that you get to choose from, and it's like a couple of attack cards and maybe a healing card, and you get to level up your attack if you use multiple attack cards, and then you actually get to sit there and swing at the enemies until your weapon breaks. But by that point, you'll have built up enough energy to use more cards.
Okay, I might consider this. What else, Dalan? We both tried this next one a little bit. I didn't get too far into it.
I got deep into this one. I also got deep into Lost in Random, which is why I could speak to that more clearly. Okay. But Trek to Yomi, I can't remember. I want to say Kurosawa. Luis, who was it?
I just told you Kurosawa.
Is it Kurosawa? I wanna hurt you, Carlos, because
Why
sometimes you don't
Liso?
be
Why
knowing the lore.
Liso? At least you a samurai.
Because he knew better when he was talking about Ghost of Tsushima. He knew.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But the fact is that you get that Kurosawa film thing going on. The entire game is in black and white, and the game actually plays very smoothly as it likes to switch between 2D motion and 3D motion. But really, it's about collecting stuff. You collect enough stuff, you can get all the moves in the game.
I don't want to collect crap, man. What's happening
hey,
here? Now,
hey.
like with Ghost of Tsushima, does it give you the option to be like, all right, I'm tired of black and white. Can I go to color at some point?
Nope. Game's in black and white. The game is in black and white. That's all you get, sir.
Okay.
But they do it in a way that they use the shades and shadows contrast to their advantage. They did that very much on purpose. And it's your basic revenge story of a samurai who lost his home and he wants to kill the overlord that's actually doing stuff. But the game is actually very fun, and they actually do some interesting stuff with the counters and the new enemies that you run into. And I like a good side scroller game, and this actually feels like a good side scroller game that I could actually get to. It seems short too.
Yeah, that's one that I think I want to dip into, and I think from what I understand, it's maybe like a 5-6 hour game. So I think that one I will. Lost in Random, as soon as I see a deck pop up, I don't know, man. But
I will say this: it can be a 5-6 hour game if you're really just running through it and just looking for stuff and not really paying attention to what's happening. But if you're not using a booklet or nothing like that, or not using any type of
booklet, if you're not using,
you know what I
booklet,
mean. If you're not using any type of instruction online manuals, sir. But if you're just going in blind and you know nothing about the game, it might take you a little bit longer, because I'll say going through the first chapter, it took me about 2 hours just for the first chapter.
So that one, Trek to Yomi, I think I'll most likely dip into that one when I get a chance.
Yomi!
I did dip into finally is SIFU, and as we were kind of hyped going up to that game, I think, right? Like when
I still want to play it. I just I got too much backlog, Carlos.
Hey, we were pretty hyped for it. I think for me it was like the sticker shock. I was like, wait, $50. Hold on, let me take a step back. And I think that's what kept me away from it. And the fact that it was like $50, and it was supposed to be a hard game. And it probably was. It probably was for the last like 5 or 6 months of like, if this is the hardest crap game. They did add a quote unquote easy mode, which they call student mode. It is not like a cakewalk still, but it's not as hard as normal mode. I did try it in normal mode. I played maybe about 2 levels of it, and at some point I kept getting kicked back to the beginning. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't. I just don't. I love the combat. I want to see it through to the end, right? Like I want to see it through. I understand.
How old were you by the time you got to the end?
Like when I beat the whole game, I guess. I didn't get too old, because actually in student mode it lets you like go back in time. It lets you go back, like it's generous too. 5 years back in time it lets you go. Whereas in normal mode there is no going back in time. You're just getting old. You're just getting old as crap. But it's so good, man. It's like you're playing John Wick the movie, right? With minus the the gunplay, but like the visceral like punches, and you're slamming people against things or whatever. So it's really nice. It's it's an indie game, so kind of the graphics are just a very nice, clean look to them. Kind of a little closer to cel shaded, than like graphically intense.
Like you forgot about the game Rise to Honor.
Right, so it did remind me of those kind of games, man. It did remind me. You know what? Actually, the whole time I was thinking, did you ever? There was a game. I think there was 2 of them. I know one of them was called Mark of Kree. I don't know if that was the sequel or there was one before that, but it's definitely like a game that was just. I think it was during the PS2 era, but it's fully like just combat based, right? I don't think it was as visceral as this, because this is nice, man. You're throwing like 10 punches on your finisher. It's nice. You can grab bottles. You could throw furniture around. You can move furniture around. Like my favorite thing on inside
It's like you gotta move furniture around. We go move some furniture around.
Yeah, like my favorite thing on Inside of the NBA, if you guys watch that, the Shaq and Chuck are always like, we're gonna move some furniture around. Well, in SIFU, you do move some furniture around. So I had a lot of fun with it. I like the, like I said, I definitely like the fact that they did this whole like student mode, because I definitely was ready to quit, man, after like 2 runs. And it is sort of roguelike-ish, but I do like the fact that it was gonna be released. It's a retail release now. I got it through GameFly. Thank you for where's our sponsorship, GameFly. So I do appreciate that I was able to see it through the end, and you're able to platinum it on student mode too. So for the purists out there, they can kind of be like, you didn't beat it on normal mode. Like, I don't care. I had fun, and it was actually so fun that I was thinking, like, I'm not gonna platinum this. Some of these seem kind of hard, but honestly, as you play through the game, like, you naturally get the different things that the platinum requires, right? That all the trophies require. So those are my kind of games. Dalan, I suggest you pick it up. Luis, I suggest you guys pick it up as well. I mean, $50 is a little pricey up there, so maybe GameFly.
I've got GameFly.
There you go. The other thing, I didn't GameFly this. I had to pay some hard-earned cash. Was Cuphead. It's a little bit of a streak, man. Some of these games are kind of a little challenging. Cuphead is hard as hell, man. I spent like an hour and a half the other day beating one level. But I will say it's the type of hard that you're like, it's my fault. I didn't make that jump on time. I knew that I needed to make that jump, and I just didn't do it, right? So you're always like, it's always unattainable. It's outside of unattainable, each of the levels in there.
Hey, this was the game where I had to make the distinction for people that I spoke to online of there's hard and then there's just challenging. Mm-hmm. I would prefer a challenging game. And Cuphead is challenging, not specifically hard. People were out there complaining about the game being too hard. It's not too hard. It's just a challenge. You could overcome it if you try.
But I will say this. I'm going to take it further, Dalan. There's challenging, and then there's cheap, dude. Because some games are cheap as hell. Like, they're really like, oh, we're hard because it's, like, cheap or whatever. And sometimes, to be honest, Elden Ring and the Souls game feel a little cheap. Like whereas Cuphead, and I think the difference is that, like, in those kind of games, there's still like a delay a little bit, right? As far as like your movement and all of that, when you can shift, when you can roll. But Cuphead is like precise, dude. It's like it's your fault that you didn't jump at that moment. Like, it's your fault that you didn't dodge or parry or switch to your other weapon or did your special. It's your fault that you lost that way. So I think that's what makes
the whole game is it's your fault. That's the subtitle for this game, Cuphead.
But I think it's great in the sense that it's just outside of obtainable, right? That you're like, guess I'm spending an hour trying to beat this level, even though like I know, and there's a whole bunch of little upgrades to it. The homie Jeremy, he was on the podcast a couple podcasts ago. He's been banished again. I don't know if you heard that episode, Dalan, but he was talking about since the last time I was banished. He's not banished. He's just we'll find him a slot at some point. We'll get him back on.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, no. So as far as he was over at the house, and he actually had some fun with it. So it's definitely one of those games where if you're like, damn, I don't want a cheap hard game. It's not that. It's kind of like what you were saying. It's challenging, and as long as you stick with it, you'll get like the satisfaction of like, I made it. And trust me, I don't like hard games. We were just talking about SIFU. I didn't play it through on hard. I was like,
you played it on student.
Yeah, I was like, forget that. I'm gonna play it on student, have some fun, see through the whole story.
You're such a baby.
Hey man, I'm playing Cuphead. I'm gonna beat that game. It's pretty hard. Next thing on here, and we'll just kind of end it on that, is I did play some Nintendo Switch Sports. I'll keep this one quick, man. I GameFly'd this one as well. Where's our sponsorship? GameFly, again. And I decided the moment I decided to keep it is when I was playing with my family members, I was playing with my daughter, and I was playing with the in-laws. As soon as the in-laws said, it's like, hey, you just smacked me with the controller. I was like, yep, this is a keeper. This is one of those games where it's like we're playing tennis, someone got smacked like for a couple matches in. I was like, "Yep, I'm buying it. I'm keeping it." On GameFly they have that option, you keep it, and I was like, "I'll keep it." It's the same.
Yeah, GameFly you have that option, smack it in law.
It's the same game, man. It's the same game that Wii Sports was. One of the things that's kind of cool is as far as like the bowling is that you actually can play. Everyone can play simultaneously. So you don't actually, I think you still have to wait till the end of the turn, but everyone can be bowling, right? Everyone is bowling at the same time. Wait till the end of the turn, you keep going. So if you guys remember, that took forever, man. On the Wii Sports, it took forever to get through all those rounds on 4-player mode. And the other thing is the online. There's online now, so you can play online. It plays well enough from what I could tell. There's a little bit of that Nintendo classic $20 a year lag and no communication. Dalan shakes his head in high disappointment.
It's very disappointing.
But it's not terrible. It's doable. You can play the games, and a lot of it's a casual game. So don't try to be competitive, even though they're kind of pushing for that, because I found out I played enough rounds of like tennis the other day where now I'm getting graded. Now I'm like, E and then D and then C, and you could kind of move up the grades like that. So, and it's up to you, Dan. It's up to you how competitive you want to take it. But if you grab it, I'm down to compete out there. I did try out a Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. That's on Game Pass. That's kind of the Suikoden spiritual successor, which was like Kickstarted, right? But this is not the full game. This is like a little side story. Looks beautiful. Try it out on Game Pass.
That's the next on my list, man. I'm ready.
There you go.
Actually, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna bring this up really quick because we didn't get a chance to bring it up during the rundown. But I tried to play Trek to Yomi when it first dropped. And then I couldn't play Trek to Yomi when it first dropped because the Xbox services went down for 3 days, and I was very
Yeah. I didn't put it on. Yeah, I didn't put it on the rundown. That was definitely part of the news. But we've been gone for 2 weeks. It's a little longer than usual episode. I don't know how long these episodes are supposed to be, man. They're just like, but
they're just whatever we make them.
Look, as long as Matthew and Jet and Prue, if Prue listens or whoever's listening out there are enjoying it.
As long as we got one person in the seat,
we have
right?
one person in the seat, we're gonna put on the show. But yeah, that's a good game. I'm a little surprised. The story is rough, I gotta say, Dan. Maybe you'll like it, but the story is rough as hell, man. And
that might be a problem.
But the gameplay,
if it's not a good story, I have a problem with that.
But the gameplay's kind of cool. It's a 2D RPG-ish type. Reminded me of Tales of Symphonia kind of games, right? Those are 2D or no? Which one am I thinking that's 2D?
Well, Tales of Symphonia is not 2D. Before that, it was 2D.
Okay.
But if you're talking about like art style wise, like the actual like in-game type of stuff, some of the games after that were still like drawn and cell shaded.
So
and
it
stuff
looks
like
nice.
That. So yeah, I guess you could say that. I guess you could say Tales of Symphonia would be in that.
So you said all that, Dalan, just to tell me that I'm right. All right. So
I said all that to tell you you're right. All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The singer, this one's for Prue, I guess, because he just skips to the end. Prue, this one's for you. So there's scientists that have invented mouth haptics for VR that allows users to feel different virtual experiences with their mouths, like drinking a beverage, feeling the sensation of wine, or I think they meant wine, while flying, or wind while flying or driving, and more. So what are you guys thinking about this, Dalan? You want these mouth haptics for VR or what? I mean, phrasing.
Hey, no, this is a. It's a terrible precedent to set for any VR system. However, I am aware that Japan has actually been working on this for quite some time. They actually specifically created a kissing VR haptic system.
Of course.
So it's just going to get worse from here, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see the picture, but this girl is definitely like, she's
smooching with her mouth. Her mouth is puckered.
I don't want to say anything else. I'm just phrasing. All right. But Luis, what do you think, man? A little mouth haptics in your future?
It's gonna happen whether we want it or not, man. I mean, something like this. The porn industry is going to take it, and everything that the porn industry does.
Hey,
they're at the forefront of technology, man. It's very.
They're on top of it. They put money into the military so they could get that technology beforehand.
Luis, you work with VR type stuff. You guys haven't talked about this, right? Or have this been thrown around? Or
Well, no, I mean, this is not anything that's out yet. Like it just says the scientists are developing. Look how wacky this thing is. They all start like this. Everything starts like this. The first time I saw VR haptic feedback with the hand, like where you could feel like holding a can of soda and like it felt cold, or like feeling like a pony on your hand that was on fire, like feeling the warmth. It was a huge box. It was like a 24 by 24 box or 12 by whatever. They all start clunky and whatever. They want to get the tech right, and then they sort of make it smaller. So it's gonna happen at some point.
Well, look, there it is. If you want mouth experiences, it's coming to a VR near you at some point. Carlos Macias, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you go on YouTube, subscribe, like, and look, if you are in the comments, we will throw you into the show. Carlos Macias, Dalan Kirkwood, Up in the Mountains, thank you for joining me, sir.
Izzy Pop, Sparkling Apple, go get it.
Dalan, what did you? Dalan just threw a little kissing picture here on the rundown.
This is what I was talking about. the kissing simulator.
Wow.
They've been working on it. I told you.
Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you very much, sir. And we'll see. I'll see you in real IRL at some point, right? See you guys next week.
Maybe,
I'll
eventually.
see Luis at the Mud Honey show. You know, probably should listen to Mud Honey. Probably should know what I'm getting myself into. All right, latest.
Hey.
Say what you're gonna say, Dalan.
Nah, every time you say Mud Honey, I'm thinking the Honey Bee Inn. You go to the Honey Bee Inn?
I did just buy some creamy mango the other day.
Oh God! Stop. Move on.